So let's dig deeper into that Bears-Lions matchup that's going to be oh so critical for Mitch Trubisky to succeed as a quarterback going forward. When you look at these two teams, the Lions, I felt like they've been fairly impressive and they've been in games. Even if they're losing, they've been competitive throughout a lot of their games. Well, the Bears seems to be like squeaking by or, just absolutely not able to move the football at all. So I feel like on paper, this is an unbalanced matchup from my perception to where I would expect the Lions to definitely have an advantage over us. But let's dig into each phase of the ball first, because that's where we can kind of see the clear wins and losses.
Well, I think that just to comment on what you said, right now Lions 3-4-1, and then the Bears 3-5, and all of the Bears games have been close outside of the Saints game, and then with the Lions, they've been pretty much close in every single game outside of their Vikings game. Yeah. But the reason why we're like, oh wow, look at the Lions this year, is because no one had expectations for Lions, but the Bears, at least in Chicago, we were expected to be a double-digit win team. Yep. So that's the reason why it feels like that. But the Lions have one of the worst defenses in the league, and this is coming from Matt Patricia, who is the defensive genius, the rocket scientist. Yep. And then you have the Bears, who have one of the worst offenses in the league, and they have rocket scientist, offensive genius in Matt Nagy. So it's ridiculous to see this, and I think it's just something where, again, this Lions team can score with anybody because they have someone who's been extremely underrated for his whole entire career because he used to be down all the time. People be like, oh, he's got inflated passing numbers. No, he's just a really good quarterback. Yeah. If Matt Stafford was a quarterback of the Bears, he'd probably be the best quarterback of Bears history.
He would be easily. He's Jay Cutler on steroids.
But Jay Cutler cares. But with that, I mean, if we're talking about it, I think it's pretty easy. Offensively, the Lions have the edge. Defensively, the Bears have the edge. Special teams, I really can't comment too much because, we have Cordero Patterson, we have Tariq Cohen, we have Eddie Pinheiro, who's been decent. They have Matt Prater, who's been a long-time veteran. But, when it comes down to it, special teams are always a toss-up, it feels like. We have the guys that
we can't count on our guys is the problem.
We have the guys that can make a difference, but, will they be in position to make a difference, really? And so if we're talking about offense, defense, I think it's pretty clear who has the edge.
Ricky, what do you think about that?
To me, it's one thing. Can the Bears get after Matt Stafford? Because after Kerryon Johnson went down, this run game for the Lions took a hit. And I expect the Lions just to do what they have been doing. We're going to rely on our big guy, Matt Stafford, to get the ball to Kenny Golladay. Yeah. And it's going to be, can the Bears rushers get to Matt Stafford? And if they can't, can Matt Stafford and Kenny Golladay kind of slice up this Bears secondary? Because, you look at the defense for the Lions, they're and this is the interesting thing that links into the Mitch talk that we were talking about, is the Lions defense ranks 31st in yards allowed and 27th in points allowed. So if this Bears defense can get after Stafford, make life tough, get a couple turnovers, and get Mitch extra opportunities, this game, I'm assuming that that's going to happen. At that point, it's all on Mitch. What can Mitch do against this defense? Because this could be a game where if you struggle against this defense, all right, the fucking panic button is being hit, and it's just not being touched. It's being I'm just going to keep tapping it until something changes, because this is a game, if the defense does its job, the Bears should be able to win, even if the offense isn't perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. And typically when we see this stuff, one team has a much better offense and their defense is horrible, and one team has a horrible offense, but their defense is better, usually the defensive team wins. Especially being, I think this game is in Chicago. No, the game is in Chicago. I was right. Especially being in Chicago, this is a game that the Bears should win. And not even should, they must win this game. If they don't, their season's dead. But on top of that, it is just a game, too, that, the Lions, you beat them twice last year. You beat them even with Chase Daniel as your quarterback. This team has improved. They got Trey Flowers. Kenny Golladay has taken a step forward even more. That helps Marvin Jones' job. They used to have Golden Tate. Who was the other guy they had? It wasn't Marvin Jones. Who was the other guy?
Who's the other guy? They have a tight end who's pretty good.
T.J. Hawkinson.
Am I just thinking of Golden Tate?
Or are you thinking of Danny Amendola?
That's it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Amendola. So they have.
Of course,
Amendola,
you would be thinking of the former Patriot.
But he's been great. He's been getting still it's 5 to 9 catches a game. Matt Stafford has relied on him out of the slot. So I mean, they do have a very good passing attack. Yep. It's just the fact that their line has been iffy. Their line has been something that they've invested a ton into before, and some games it looks very well, and some games it doesn't. And this is a team too that they've forced 3 turnovers against Green Bay and still lost. This is a team that has won games even with negative turnover differentials. They had 2 turnovers against the Giants, and they only forced 1, and they still won the game. So this is a team that's extremely weird when it comes to the wins and losses that they have had. I don't know if they have everything they need to, though, to execute, because you see against that Cardinals team, they should have beat the doors off of that Cardinals team, but they let them come back, and that was a tie game. The Green Bay Packers game, they should have closed that game out. They should have shut them down, but they came back and won that game. So the Bears have a game that is winnable.
Yep.
But the thing is if Mitch is turning the ball over, at some point, this offensive attack from the Lions can break the defense down. So I think it's really just going to be about time of possession for the Bears. If they're able to run the ball.
I'm glad you brought that up because
if they're able to
3
run the
out
ball,
of the last 4 games, the Lions have led a 100-yard rusher. So
That'd be
when
nice.
so when you look at that, and we just got done gushing about how this is Mitch's chance to prove himself, and now I'm going, this is Matt Nagy's chance to prove himself
To even help you out.
by playing the run game.
To even help you out, they've just haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in one game. 171 yards, then 80, then 166, then 170, then 123, then 127, then 132, then 121, or 112. You can run that on this team.
No,
so
absolutely.
Run, do it.
Absolutely.
If you win at the point of attack, if you win at the offensive line, you can beat this team up. I don't know any of their linebackers. That says that they're bad. You look at their secondary. The secondary has been picked apart at least continually. Darius Slay is a fantastic player, but I think he was out last week, and I don't know his status for this week. But I don't know if he's fully healthy enough. So if their best secondary player is out, this should be a team that in a secondary that you should be able to take over.
He played against the Raiders.
Did he? Well, I think he was out in the game before. I think he has had injury issues this year at least.
Okay.
But yeah, he is something that he is very good. But outside of that, there isn't a ton of noisemakers on this team.
And
Yeah.
Darius Slay this week was full participation.
Yeah, he did
with
miss
his
the
hamstring.
Giants game.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, he did have a game where he did miss, and but outside of him, my point is that they don't have a great secondary. They even traded one of their better players in Quandre Diggs to the Saints as well, at least in the secondary. So this is a team that you should be able to run against. This is a team that you should be able to
100%.
pass against. And if you're able to control the ball, you should win this game.
Yeah, Ricky, as far as controlling the ball, we watched the Vikings really take it to the Lions
Stephon Diggs had
a couple
a game,
weeks
though.
ago. Well, that's the
He had a
thing.
game,
So what we're seeing is, so they're really bad against the run, and that can open up things for the pass. Like, how did Diggs beat them in that game? Was it on short passing? Was it on long balls? For those who didn't watch the game.
There was that one. I'm replaying in my head the one where it was like a medium long pass, and then Diggs with his legs should have got it into the end zone, but
He had
did
7
not.
for 143, one of
Yeah.
his 2 identical games.
Yeah, for me, I look at this and I go, the Bears should just watch that film and offensively do the same thing. Like, if David Montgomery doesn't have at least 20 touches in this game, you failed, in my mind. And, like, I kind of have a feeling that if he doesn't have 20 touches or more in this game, that I think the Bears lose this game. Only because if you put the ball into Mitch's hands more in this game, you will not have a good time.
Really?
However, what do we say with teams that run the ball? If you can run the ball, Mitch doesn't have to throw the ball more, but his throws and the pass attempts that you do can be efficient pass attempts. Get the ball to Allen Robinson. He could have a big day, but it all is predicated on how involved is Montgomery in this attack.
In the second half of that Eagles game, they started running the ball and then opened up the play action pass. That's what led to that 53-yard bomb to Taylor Gabriel. And I'm going to look at that play because that was the biggest play of the game.
That's the only positive play of the game.
Life and air to a starving Bears fandom. Like that's just giving them a bag of chips when they haven't eaten all day. Like that is something that we needed. After 9 fucking yards in the first half, you get a 53-yard bomb. You're like, holy shit! And it looked like Mitch was actually pissed off in the second half, and it looked great. And I was like, hell yes, we're getting pissed off Mitch Trubisky. We're gonna go to the fucking playoffs, and that's how ridiculous Bears fans are, or at least I am. But I feel like that's mostly Bears fans.
One throw, and we're like, bam, we're back in it.
It's not one throw. It's like, oh, he just hit a 9-yard curl route. It was awesome. It was sick. He hit it on his fifth, his fifth step in whatever fucking
Drop back.
Yeah, drop back. His fifth step on his drop back,
yeah.
and just fired it. And you're like, holy shit, he's unleashing it. He's firing this ball. And you're like, yes. And then they lost. But if he's able to at least have a run game that supports him, and they're able to run the ball, and Matt Nagy's not being predictable in his play calls. It's not run, then pass on third down. If it's pass, run, or if he's just mixing up what he's doing, because it felt like he was getting predictable. It was run, pass in that first half against the Eagles. If they're able to do that, then this team has a very good shot at winning. But the Lions are a team that can hurt you. Matt Stafford is a very good quarterback. He can play, being down in a game. So
that man loves playing from behind. He slays it. He's
especially when his collarbone is broken.
Well, I was gonna say, my favorite memory of Matt Stafford is
the Browns, though.
So it was so early in his career, though, but that set the tone for his career that he's like, fuck it, I'm doing this.
The best is that it was mic'd up.
It was the mic'd up episode. He went for it and he killed it, and that's ever since then I've loved Matt Stafford, and he's the quarterback we could never have, so it was easy to attach myself. I think
Dave and Georgia quarterbacks, you latch yourself to them.
Which other one?
Jake Fromm.
I mean, I mentioned him once.
I mean,
let it go, kid.
You always look to see how Fromm's doing, kind of
let it go, kid. Let it go. Anyway, Stafford in that offense versus our defense. You had mentioned, they've got some great weapons on the outside, but their run game now is missing its key piece. So without Johnson there really to run it down home, how do you think that offense matches up with our defense? Because we've kind of been pretty controlled, but you said it earlier, once you hit that 34, 35, 36 minutes on the field as a defense, it's harder to get that pass rush going. So do you think this is a game where we attack early on that defensive front and hope to put Stafford on the ground early and then just force it to make bad throws later in the game?
Yeah, I do wonder what Pagano's idea of what he wants to do against Stafford's going to be. They don't have a game-changing running back now that Kerryon Johnson's out. So I wonder if they do play back and just try to take away the passing game then. I wonder if they try to, put as many guys in coverage as possible, don't load up the box, and just force them to run. I wonder if that is what they're going to do, but I think it's tougher for the Bears to do that now that Akeem Hicks is out and won't be playing in this game.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's been missing since the Raiders game, but I wonder if that might be their idea, is to take away what they're best at. That's what we've seen from Belichick all the time in every single game. They try to take away your best player.
Yeah.
And I think their best player clearly, and has been for a long time, is Matt Stafford. So if they're able to take away him, and this secondary is good enough to do that, if they're able to just force the Lions into running the ball, leaving the box a little bit open, and then having Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan make plays in the second level, that would be something that I would like to see. But the Bears' defense hasn't been that great at stopping the run. They weren't great stopping the run. They haven't been the Bears that they were last year. And last week, we did see that Jordan Howard was getting chunks of 11, 17, 13. He broke off that touchdown run. So
how much of that is revenge game? How much of that is
how much
defense
of that is their
lacking?
line? How much is, their line is great, too.
Also that, yeah.
But Eddie Jackson had 10 tackles in that game, so that just told you that he was getting to the third level consistently.
God, I would say, who's their tackle who made it 8, 10, 12 yards down the field blocking on
Lane
shit?
Johnson? I don't know. That's the only tackle I know. I know Kelsey and Johnson on that offensive line.
I just remember one play distinctly of him
guru.
He bounced out. He's blocked first guy, popped off, and then just kept going. And it was done. It was ugh.
Dillard. They drafted Dillard. I don't know. I'm not paying attention to the offensive line.
Eagles offensive line. Well done. You did well on that draft.
But with that, it's
and
just if I was a defensive coordinator and I knew that Matt Stafford is their best player and I have Khalil Mack in the line, I'm sending 3 or 4. I'm trying to have Mack and Leonard Floyd make plays for me, and then I'm not stacking the box at all. And I'm having 5 guys in the box. Or 6 guys in the box. 4 on the line, 2 backers, and Trevathan and Roquan behind them, and then just putting defensive backs out there and just trying to shut down any possible way for them to pick up yardage. If they want to get 3 yards on the ground, let them do that. If that's the way that they're going to have to beat us, okay, because I have enough faith in my team from what they have been to shut them down in the running game. So I wouldn't be shocked if we did see that. That would be my plan of attack, at least for the first looks that they're going to give us, because I don't want Stafford beating me.
Yeah.
So that would be my idea. If they want to take off time, that's fine. But with that, then I hope that my offense coordinator is then going to run the ball and also take time off the clock as well. So I wouldn't be shocked if this is a low-scoring game because the Bears have been having a low-scoring game pretty much all the time just because their offense fucking sucks. But I would say that this is probably going to be I would make it a slow game, and with my defense, hopefully they're going to force some turnovers.
I think it's a grind-out game. Yeah. NFC North going back to its heritage.
I'm reaching down, Dave.
Oh.
Got to pull out the crystal ball for this one.
Okay.
Because I know what's going to happen. I have seen into the future, and I'm going to tell you,
I saw him looking up. I know Ricky knows football. I know Ricky knows his names from fantasy football. When he's pulling up Ty Johnson and J.D. McKissick for the guys who filled in for Kerryon Johnson, I'm like, they're not. Those guys aren't going to be breaking off runs for them. These guys aren't going to be 100-yard rushers for them.
And the thing I was bringing out is I know what's going to happen.
Look at the guys that have been having success against this Bears defense. It's Josh Jacobs,
it's
who's
legitimate.
a very talented running back, and Jordan Howard, who's a very talented
and
running
exactly.
back.
And the thing I was going to play into is like Ty Johnson, who's their starter, 9-7 have been the number of attempts he's had in the last 2 games. The Lions are not going to rush the ball a lot in this one, and because of that, this is how I see the game kind of unfolding. The Bears defense is going to be like, I don't even have to worry about the run because I can just, like the older brother who's just pushing the younger brother.
Stick the arm out there.
Just stick the arm out, and they're not going to be able to do anything. Those edge rushers are pinning their ears back. They're coming around. They're coming for Matt Stafford. Here's the linchpin. How does the offense play? If Mitch, time of possession, can keep the ball in the offense's hands, Bears win this game, and I think they'll win it handily. But if Mitch is able to not do anything, stalled out possessions, turn the ball over, it's going to be predicated on how much that defense is out there. I'm going positive. Mitch gets it done enough. The Bears win by at least 2 touchdowns in this one. However,
I don't know about that.
Also known as 5 field goals.
Or 5 field goals.
15-point game, 15-0, go Bears.
But I think there's that small chance
Eddie Pinheiro.
that Mitch or Matt Nagy make the wrong moves, and the defense is out there, and it's basically, all right, we're begging Matthew Stafford to beat us. We're begging him to make a play and beat this defense that's like, oh my God, we're fucking tired. Like, just let us fucking relax a bit.
The memory that sticks out in my head mostly from last year against the Lions is Eddie Jackson's pick 6 on Thanksgiving. This guy has not made any plays for us this year. He had 10 tackles against the Eagles, but his biggest play was the late hit out of bounds, I believe, on Ertz, and they picked up 15 yards for them. So it's something that I would it sucks that to do this to the defense each and every week. But if they make plays, and hopefully it's our bigger names making plays, Khalil Mack, he's been kind of quiet in the past 3 games. Eddie Jackson as well. If these guys are making plays, this is going to be a Bears game, a Bears win. I'm not going out and saying 14-point victory, though. I have no faith in that. You need to show me something before I have that much faith and that much gravitas to say that. Last time I said that, they got their fucking doors blown off by Oakland. So I'm not going to go out and say that. I think that if the Bears run the ball, which is a big fucking if, because Matt Nagy feels like he is smarter than everybody else and can draw up all these crazy plays, even though I think he's just running the most simple plays in
the West Coast offense.
Yeah. I'll say 12-10 Bears. Like, I think Eddie Pinheiro probably wins it on a field goal, and even then, like, will he make it? Will they give him enough yardage? Will they make it a 30-yarder instead of a 43-yarder? I don't have faith in this Bears team, and it sucks to say that because this defense is really good, but this offense is led poorly. They don't have the quarterback to lead them, even if it was they don't have a super talented quarterback to take them to the next level. I hope the Bears win by 2 touchdowns. I hope they win by 14. But if this team scores 3 touchdowns offensively, I'd be happy. When was the last time we saw that? When was the last time we saw 3 touchdowns from the Bears? Was it Washington? Like I miss touchdowns. I miss good offensive play. I would love to play Minnesota. I would love to play Washington,
Minnesota every week,
and Miami every week.
Oh my God, that would be great.
I would love it. It'd be great. I would see.
Could you imagine if we had a schedule as easy as the Patriots had?
Yeah, that's the reason why they're that good.
I'm sorry, Sean. I just had to toss that gimme out there.
It's so stupid. Like, what do you want them to fucking do? Just be like, oh, guys, no, sorry.
Play
We're not going to follow
harder
the
teams.
rules that are established by the NFL. We're going to go and play better teams. So even when the Chiefs are playing, we're going to make a triple threat. We're going to go play the Vikings and the Chiefs at the same time. It's the dumbest fucking thing.
What a
The
game.
media
What
is
a fucking game.
media's hyping up the fucking Patriots defense. This could be the greatest team of all time. Bill Belichick's a great mastermind. He's a great defensive coach. He is. But also, like, you have to look at the opponents that they're playing. They're not going to force them any fucking turnovers
I ain't
each
afraid
and
of
every
no
week.
ghosts.
I mean, like, it's the Patriots are playing who they could play. Sorry, like, what the fuck do you want them to do? You are creating the narrative that this is going to be the greatest defense of all time. Like, Patriot fans aren't. So when they go and lose to a team that they've historically lost to in Baltimore, off their bye against a type of quarterback that they've consistently had issues against, a mobile QB and a quarterback that can exploit the biggest weakness that the Patriots defense does have in speed, then yeah, this team's going to fucking lose or at least have a difficult time. Sorry, they're not the greatest defense of all time. The 85 Bears let up 36 points to Dan fucking Marino. Like, fucking annoyed by
Lamar
all these people.
Jackson's Dan Marino?
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Hey, Dan Marino, not the first guy in a great quarterback draft to go off the board. You know what I'm saying? He was a little bit of a later pick there, and he came out one of the prime jewels of that draft. Lamar Jackson, also a prime jewel of that draft.
I love a good Sean rant. You just get him going.
It's so fucking annoying though. Like, oh, Brady's a little bit slower. Brady doesn't want to get hit. Who wants to get hit? Who wants to get drilled? He doesn't have an offensive line. Marshall Newhouse is a fucking joke of a left tackle. It's a cliff. Although he's top 10 in every fucking passing down. And he doesn't have any weapons. He's just throwing to Julian Edelman over and over again. It's fucking ridiculous.
I love
Bears win 12-10. I could go complete meatball. And Bears gonna win 98-2. Because that's what they did in the Superfan bet, I think, on Thanksgiving. But no, it's not going to fucking happen. The Bears are going to be disappointing, and even if they get a win, people are still going to bitch about it.
I got this one going 19-14 Bears and a whole bunch of field goals.
That's a lot of points.
That's a whole bunch of field goals.
How many field goals?
That's 4 field goals right there. That's a touchdown and 4 field goals.
How's the touchdown happening?
I would imagine it's going to happen on a screen pass to Montgomery.
Whoa, yeah.
Or maybe not a screen pass. You know, he's going to slip coverage.
Can we talk about this, though?
Yeah.
Because you brought up screen passes.
Yep.
The one screen pass that I've seen all year from the Bears, where they actually get blockers set up on the outside, Montgomery fucking drops it.
Look, I understand.
I fucking hate this team.
But meanwhile, he can catch open field passes, too. Like, you send him down the field.
Back. It was a mistake.
I know.
But it's just the one time we actually set up a screenplay.
And I think it
doesn't work.
It was made worse by them pointing out after the fact. It's like, look, you've got your blocker set up here, and they're drawing the screen. I'm like, I don't want to watch this failed play.
It's so funny that Matt Nagy's going to go in and be like, all right, guys, this is how we can successfully set up a screenplay. You're just the most important part needs to be executed, though. You need to catch the pass.
Hands closed. Yep. So, on that shocking revelation from Sean.
Do you want my score?
You already said your score.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
He said they were winning by 2 touchdowns.
touchdowns.
I figured that was pretty much a score.
I'm going a step further, Dave. 24-10 Bears win. Here's where the touchdowns are coming. 3 touchdowns. David Montgomery running 2 in on his own. He'll catch 1. He'll have a 3-touchdown day. Pinheiro hits a field goal.
Fantasy team would love that.
Wow.
And then Stafford gets 1 to Galladay and garbage.
Can I get my dream game?
Sure.
My dream game, Mitch runs for 100. If I see that, I'll be happy.
Mitch with a breakout QB sneak for like 92 yards.
Just 100
if
overall.
I see 10
One
rushes,
play.
100 yards, love it. Pick up some first downs, kid. Let's do it. Come on, that'd be great.
Rodgers even rushed on him. I'm just saying, you know, this Detroit Lions defense may be vulnerable to the QB runs.
I'd love it.
All right.
One thing I want to ask you guys before we move on into basketball has nothing to do with the Bears. I just want to know your guys' thoughts because this is a football question. Did you guys hear the new thing that the XFL is going to do?
No.
Where Pat McAfee is going to be a sideline reporter to where they're just giving him a microphone to roam the field and can walk up. Like if Matt Nagy called a bonehead play, he could walk up and go, "Hey, coach, why'd you call that right there?" And just interview whoever he wants,
And do you
whenever he
think
wants.
that everyone will be
game.
compliant with those interviews? Or do you think that they're not going to answer questions?
I have no idea. It is very interesting to me, and I can't wait to see how it works, although I don't think it's going to work.
Do you think the
It's not gonna
XFL
work,
will
and
get off the ground?
That's the thing is, I think that's a bad move. It's an interesting thing. And Vince pushed the envelope before in the XFL to bring in the Skycam and stuff like that actually helped the game. But stuff like that's just going to make you look unprofessional, because then it's like, oh, these guys are taking time out of their job to actually, do an interview. Like, what other sport do you see that happening? And it could be like,
Baseball.
we're pushing the envelope.
Managers.
Kind of, yeah.
And
but
let's be honest.
but they're not calling plays.
Let's be honest. Managers in baseball, I mean, like, how much do they really do?
They're not calling
Verlander,
plays
who's
during
not
it.
pitching that day. Like, hey, the start of the pitch last night, we're talking to you.
Yeah, but like
Exactly.
if you're interviewing Mitch after he threw an interception, like he's trying to focus on the next drive that he's going to go out there on. Like baseball, you have 3 innings before you're going to bat again. That's just because baseball's slower.
Yeah.
Or football could change at any second. Like that's just, I feel like that's going to act like you're more of a joke. Like
I love
your
Pat
game
McAfee,
is-
but he also comes off as an asshole
he's
with this
funny
premise.
at times, but I don't like.
Yeah.
I
Well-
think he's overhyped.
On that note, Ricky, thanks for getting up and hitting the camera. But we're going to talk about the Bulls. Gonna talk about the
I have a
Bulls.
stress headache.